Welcome to a brand new episode of the Murtz Show. You can see that I've done a little set design work here in the Murtz Show studios, aka my parents' basement. We have the new artwork right there. I actually had that done with Liza from Big Brother. I think it kind of looks like me. And today we will have AJ Burman, my best friend from Big Brother Canada here. We're going to talk a little Big Brother Canada. We're going to talk a little Big Brother US. We're going to talk a little racism. I think the opinions of two brown guys on reality concerning this season is going to be particularly poignant when you consider Erin's on the show. Somehow I have a feeling she really wouldn't have aligned with AJ or I, given her world views. I'm going to get AJ's opinion on that. And I'm also going to ask AJ to tell us the story of how he got cast on the show, and how I had no idea about it. What else am I going to ask him? Oh, I think just in general, perhaps just to defend his floating strategy. I remember when he was in the house, everybody was like, oh, if this kid's supposedly your best friend, what is he doing? He's not making any moves, blah, 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 blah. And I will tell you why I still, to this day, maintain AJ played a pretty perfect game. Let's bring him on and get this thing started. By the way, before we bring AJ on, this couldn't have been more ill-timed. I heard that the feeds just came back on, so I know a lot of people are watching the feeds right now. The Zimmerman trial is about to come to a conclusion. So thanks for being here. I know there's a lot going on tonight. AJ, welcome to the Murtz Show.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not too much, not too much. Now, we got to start by taking a photo for the website. You just got to hold this pose for 2 seconds. Bang, there we go. All right, AJ.
Hey.
So much to talk about. Are you digging our matching outfits here? Not that it was coordinated or anything.
Both look great. Sitting here in our basements. Awesome.
Yeah, look, like there's three people. There's three brown guys in beige jackets. There's me, there's you, and then there's the guy on the fridge.
Nice. This guy's pretty cool too. Sorry, pointing the wrong way.
All right, let's just get things started. So I wanna jump right into it here. We went to the open calls together, and I know that like you can't really talk a lot about the audition process, but can you just give us a little bit of an idea about how much I didn't know, and what would you say is the reason that you got cast?
I'll definitely say this, that our friendship, since high school, has little to do with me getting on the show, but a lot to do with me getting interested in the show, because we obviously talked about it for many years together. And I don't know how much you know that I've always wanted to be on the show, but I think I've probably mentioned that too many times. Obviously, we went to the audition together, so you knew I was serious about it. And you know that I started to like take care of myself and lose some weight before I got on the show. You pointed
A lot of weight.
and but as soon as I got into the process, as you know, you knew nothing about it, not even a little bit about it. And when I heard that a lot of the ex-Big Brother expert, or sorry, I should say the Big Brother community, if you will, thought that you had given me some playbook, that's completely false. Completely false. I've watched the show enough to develop my own strategies in the game and how I played it. You did say I played a perfect game. I wouldn't go that far by any means, because I would have then won the game or been in there longer. But I am very happy with the way that I played the game, because I let the game come to me. I didn't go out and play aggressively, and I think that's why others like Dick and maybe even Dan thought I was floating. But that's a solid strategy in the Big Brother house. You don't want to get in the middle of the drama early. I knew I could float till very.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So you got cast from the open call. You got on there. Now, while the cast was coming out, I think certainly the first thing that I noticed, and I think the first thing that sort of separated the Canadian one from the US version, was the prevalence of minorities on the Canadian season. Specifically, and we're going to get into this a little bit later concerning, all the racism from this season. Did that surprise you? Because I was shocked that, there wasn't just one brown guy there. There were two. And then you had Tala, you had Gary. Is that just a Canadian flavor that we saw?
Actually, no, I wasn't shocked at all. To be honest with you, I expected it. I expected it, and it couldn't. You know what? I'm not going to say it could have been more diverse, because I thought it was an amazingly diverse cast. But yeah, I expected it because I saw what was being promoted about the show. I knew that I had a good chance to be on the show. I'm obviously of a minority, so I was actually very confident that it would be a diverse cast. But when I walked in, I think one of the things I kept saying, it's also a very attractive and good-looking cast. That was another big thing for me as well. And I was happy to be a part of it. It was a lot of great people.
The one thing that I didn't really care for was the fact that like you entered in separately, but the people that got into that first group that got inside the
Yeah.
house, they got a chance to see the memory wall with all, and they knew who was coming in. So, what did you think about that? Because I wasn't a big fan of that at all. Like, I feel like the people that first entered the house, I mean, I know in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really make a difference, but to me, to somebody who's like a reality expert, I would have been all over that board, going, all right, there's a cowboy here. I want to align with the cowboy. He's not going to break anything. There's another brown guy. I'm going to roll with him. Do you think that that had any influence on what ended up happening?
No, not even a little bit. Not for me anyway. What I'll say is a couple interesting things happened in terms of relationships, because we did talk about this. It's funny, me, Peter, and Alec and Jury actually discussed this a little bit. Peter and Alec's relationship and their friendship was actually formed very early, in fact, because they went into the house together. Okay. Andrew and I
Hmm.
also went in the house together, but that's not really when we started becoming friends. It was later on. Tal and I, same thing. Ironically, me, Tal, and Andrew, the Stooges, all in the same one as well. So there's some parallels towards it, but they didn't come in. Let me just say this as well. They really didn't come into play for most of us because also, it's interesting. Later on in the house, we're doing some, all you can do is talk about what's happening in the game. And five of us were still alive from that middle. Suzette was still there. And it was very interesting that 5 out of the 10 of us were in that middle one. But again, really didn't play that much into effect. Just a funny thing, just funny math, I guess.
I want to get, we'll talk about your strategy a little bit, but let's just get right to the meat of the issue. Like for a Big Brother fan, certainly I had issues with your vote for Gary. Like as a purist of the game, I was always like, all right, I know it's not his fault. I know it's not his fault, but he was voted out and he came back in. It's kind of like Survivor Pearl Islands, like there is no way in hell I wanted, what was her name? Like, was it
Yep.
Lillian? What was her name? The older
I don't
woman?
even remember her name.
Was it Lil? Yeah. I don't know why I can't remember that. I think it's Lillian. It was Lillian against Sandra, I believe. But for some reason, anyone in the chat room, clarify that for me if you can. But the point being that, like, somebody who's, evicted or voted off coming back into the game, I certainly would not want to give my vote to them because I think that it ruins the integrity of the game. So can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Gary and why you ended up voting for him?
Absolutely. So I just have to tweet to all at Burman AJ to come on and watch the show if they're not doing anything tonight. And so my relationship with Gary, let's just start off to say that early on in the game, we were totally on different sides of the house, and we really weren't getting along at all. And it was more that he was a bad roommate than anything else, like leaving glitter everywhere, coughing up glitter, whatever. And but over time, I got to know Gary a lot better. And in the game, when he won HOH, I and Andrew were kind of scared that we could go up, and he didn't put us up. And I thought, that was okay. Maybe he's not really gunning for me right now. So I got a better relationship with him in the game. And then, oh, by the way, he did not vote to take me out of the game, instantly evicted. He actually voted for me to stay. I knew that even before Gary came to jury. Then we got to know each other better, but really that had nothing to do with my vote. The vote had to do with the fact that the 4 of us wanted to vote the same, Peter, Topaz, Alec, and I. That didn't work out. The other reason was that I thought Gary played an amazing game because he was a target so early on and was able to survive, made a huge move taking out Tom and Liza. Yes, he got voted out, but the fact is he won a competition in my eyes. This is Big Brother Canada. I know that purists have to compare it to the US, but this is a different game. And if they have twists like this all season, then this is the way, or sorry, throughout the franchise, every season have twists like this, people coming back in, then it's part of the game. And Gary was the most
It's true.
entertaining and memorable character
It's true.
out of the 4 of us, me, Alec, and Topaz. He blew us away in the votes. He beat us pretty soundly, but Alec and I weren't too far away. But having said that, he won that competition, if you will. He deserved to go back in. And the fact that every other person thought, hey, I'm going to take Gary to the end and the jury will vote for me, that's a terrible strategy. And I wanted to penalize those that thought so. Because if Gary got to the final, he should have won just because those 4 should have got him out, not giving him a chance. If they're purists of the game as well, how can they say that and then take Gary to the final with them and expect my vote? So I wouldn't have given it to him.
I, I mean that's a pretty solid defense. I especially like the point about the fact that like you're right. Like twists now are part of the game. Like they're no longer twists. Like somebody is going to come back because that's just what they do now, you know. And I think that that's very valid. And certainly, I do see the thing. I think ultimately what it comes down to me for was the fact that like he got to basically roll with the jury, you know. And I mean, there's a pretty big trial that's coming to a head right now. If you're watching TV, I know a lot of you are. But it's kind of like, you know, having somebody who's accused of a crime getting to roll with the jury for a week before they hand down the verdict. You know, like, is that what that was like? Because that's how I see it.
That's an interesting way to look at it. But again, like this is a Gary didn't come into the jury house thinking that he's going to go back in. Just so you guys know, this is not AJ talking like this isn't true. We had no idea that we were all getting back in. We had no clue, okay, that any of us had a chance to go back in. So Gary came and he was just himself and he wasn't playing any game. So to think that he got a lot of information, only real piece of information Gary learned from that house is we didn't like Jillian. And that's not even AJ. That's obviously Topaz and Alec. Their feelings towards her at the time very bad. And I don't think, and Topaz at the time when Gary left her probably didn't think too much of Peter because Peter didn't use the veto. But obviously, fast forward, Topaz and Peter worked it out in one day in jury. You know what I mean? But Gary might have been under the impression, but it doesn't matter because Peter came out anyway. So there's no information on Peter that mattered. So bottom line is the only real information is that, you know, Jillian was kind of enemy number one. And you know what? He did use that at the end and not take Emmett, but he won the final HOH. Like, I know that Jillian won 4 HOHs, great competitor, but at the end of the day, guys,
Yep.
Gary won 2 HOHs, I think 2 vetoes. He played a very strong game, and he deserved it.
You know, I think that the Shield, when they were on here, we're talking a lot about the fact that like these shows are a social game, you know, and they feel like, you know, the Beast Coast Alliance felt like it came down to competitions. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, I've always maintained that Jillian was the right winner, simply because she won so much. But I do agree that there's a social component. So is it a combination of both?
It's definitely a combination of both. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not going to go all the way to the other side and say they don't mean anything. They definitely give you power, they give you safety, so it's important. Having said that, I would not use that as a criteria in which to solely judge a winner, in which I think Emmett, Jillian, and Andrew use that as their everything to judge winners. I won this many competitions, hence I should win Big Brother. That's my problem with their line of thinking, is they really don't take the social and the strategic elements of the game. Now, Emmett, for example, I will give him more respect because I feel like Emmett played a more strategic game. He was aligned to other people. Whereas Jillian, I'm sorry, Jillian's only strategy was to bunk up with Emmett. I'm sorry. And I don't mean to, I'm not trying to call her out as anything more, but socially, that's the only real move she made in the game was buddying with Emmett. And I'm not, you know, that's all I'm going to say. Like, she didn't have any other close relationships in the house. Later on, she had one with Andrew. I'll give her that, and Tala. But that was later on in the game. I don't feel she had any bond with Topaz, Alec, Peter. Not really. That's just my take on it. Obviously, you know how Peter.
But then, okay. Yeah, but then using that argument though, AJ, like when you were instantly evicted, I remember your interview with Arissa, and she was like, "Oh, so who do you still like in the house?" And you were all about Jillian. I remember that interview distinctly. So did something
It
change?
wasn't all about Jillian. I just felt that she was going to win the game. I was my prediction. I'm a gambler of sorts, so I look at these 8 remaining players in the house, and if I had to take Vegas on it, Jillian was in a good spot in the game, and I thought she had a good chance of going to the end because she was in a right. Because I felt like the house would turn on Emmett and Jillian, but Emmett would leave first, and Jillian would be able to stay in there for a while. That's how I looked at it. Just off the cusp, she asked me who I thought was going to win, and I picked Jillian. Now, 5 weeks later, I, ironically enough, vote for someone else, and the person I predict still wins. So I still feel pretty good about my pick, because my pick was still right, and I got to vote who I won for. So I think AJ wins.
We talked about this like in the backyard and the day after, but can you elaborate a little bit on the four-jury alliance that took place in the jury house? You know, is this just a case of like bitter losers trying to extend their 15 minutes?
Bit, yeah. You know what? Fine, sure. You know what?
Oh, see, wow.
You know what? A little
Straight,
bit.
wow, he admits it. I like it.
Are we trying? Okay, look, the 4 of us, I'm not going to speak for all of us. I'm just going to tell you my take on it. I would look at it this way. The 4 of us definitely wanted to make a little bit of a splash on the show, and it didn't happen the way we thought it would, but one of us made a very big splash on the finale. So we were jury members trying to steal the show. And guess what? Only one of us really stole it, but it did happen. So in some ways, we did accomplish what we were looking for. We wanted Gary to win. That was modus operandi number one, was to get Gary to win over either Emmett or Jillian. But as a sidebar, yes, we wanted someone to steal the show. And guess what? Topaz got to do that. So in an ironic way, it did kind of work out for the four of us in some ways.
I don't want to get into too much detail on this just because I feel like the topic has been beaten to death. But in short, what happened with Topaz's vote?
Well, she made a mistake. All the time I get this question asked to me on a daily basis when I meet people who watch the show, and they're always asking me, what is Topaz? Is she crazy? Is she dumb? Like, what is this? Like, you know what? Topaz is a very intelligent young woman. Murtz has hung out with her now too. You know what? People make mistakes. My sister will leave her keys at someone's house, like randomly, and then go back home and not be able to get into her house. This happens to her all the time. She's also a very successful businesswoman at the same time. So people make random mistakes, and that's all it was. And I told you, Murtz, about, I think, the 2 days after I got out of the show.
Yeah.
I was also paranoid about putting the wrong key in. In fact, after I put my key in, I actually left the box there, and I was looking for it to make sure I voted the way I said I was going to vote. And Alec also brought my key box back. He had 2 boxes in his hand. You can watch the footage. And then I checked my box. You won't see this on camera because they didn't show me at that time, obviously. But I opened my box to make sure that Jillian's key was in there and I had put Gary's in. You get it? So
Yeah,
Topaz didn't do
and I think you were
I did that. I didn't tell
well,
Topaz go check your key.
you were telling me
Yeah.
though. Well, you were telling me that like it was because Topaz had like concentrated her whole speech on Jillian, so and that had a lot to do with it too, I'm
And
sure.
again, the other times you're putting in people's names, the old, oh, this time you're voting for someone to win. Usually you're putting someone's key into a victim. You're saying they're the person you want out of the house. I vote to evict Jillian in this situation. So Jillian on the negative, and that bit of confusion. Honestly, after all the years of Big Brother, I'm curious, and it's funny that this is the first time it's happened in 15 seasons. So it's funny that it happened on the first season of Canada. And again, I guess all the people in the U.S. that are watching us, they're just going to start making more Canadians are dumb jokes, I guess. But what are you going to do?
Speaking of Big Brother 15, tell me what it feels like, because I've been noticing, I'm kind of like identifying a little bit, because, every time I would watch the live feeds or I would watch After Dark, and you mentioned my name, I would get like super excited. I'd like, beg people to like grab the clip or whatever. What is that like watching this show that you've watched for so long, and somebody like Judd brings up Big Brother Canada or brings up AJ? Like, that must feel pretty good.
Awesome. I actually didn't hear Judd actually say my name. Did he actually say my name? That's kind of cool. But
I think Judd might have. Judd is the one that's been mentioning it like on a pretty regular
Ray,
basis.
I think, as well. A lot of them watched it, so that's really cool. And I had a feeling that they would have. And Peter, Alec, and I talked about this when I was in Vancouver, and Topaz, and we said absolutely they will know who we are. And just the other day, I was watching After Dark, and Helen had mentioned Topaz. There's some kind of joke around putting the wrong vote in and voting to keep her. It was really funny, and she mentioned Topaz. So it's really cool that they watched us, and it's really cool as well, like the experience after the show, learning how you're getting followed by Janelle, and like you get to tweet these people, and these are people you've watched on TV for years, Dan and Evil Dick, and it's an honor. It's awesome. So I expect to have some sort of friendship or relationship with a lot of the ex-BB players, which is really cool now.
I wanna sort of like move over to Big Brother 15. Now, before we do that, this is a good time for me to remind everybody to please hit the Facebook share that you will find in the top of your window. You can share the fact that you are here with Murtz and AJ Burman, answering your questions about Big Brother Canada and about Big Brother 15. You can also tweet. I think that the tweet button is no longer in Spreecast, so you're going to have to open up a separate window to do that. And we are going to have one of the best merge challenges ever. Believe me, AJ's here. I've been planning this one for a while. I've had a lot of time to think about it. That's coming up in a few minutes. And don't forget to hit the submit question. You can submit questions via text. You can submit questions and come on webcam and ask them as well. AJ, I want to talk a little bit about Big Brother 15, and I want to sort of start by asking you, how would a player like Aaron have felt about a player like AJ if you were in the same house?
Don't think we'd be in an alliance together or any kind of showmance, that's for damn sure. Although, having said that, no, there's no way we'd be in a showmance. But I'm not even going to go there. But like I'm really disappointed in this particular character, sorry, this particular person on the show. I almost want to look at her as a character, but I know she's a real person, and that kind of scares me that there are people like this. I think it's
Exactly.
awesome, to be honest with you, being Canadian. I never faced anyone this racist in my life. Thank God. We live in a great city like Toronto, and we don't really meet people like this. We have friends. Murtz and I obviously went to high school together. We have friends of all different races, whether it be Pakistani, Polish, Greek, Canadian, like you name it, French, like every
Totally.
single culture. We have friends, black, everything, everything. And the fact that there are
Yeah.
people like this, I don't understand I can't get into their mind, and I won't try. At first, I thought Aaron, they didn't show this early. I wasn't really keeping track of the live feeds, and I thought Aaron was really cute. And I said that on Twitter. And I got backlash for it. And then I looked it up, and then I did my research, and then I realized, holy, I was wrong about this girl. Wow. I would want her out of the house really quickly, and I would totally put her up and not talk to her in the house. Very simple.
Do you think that it came as a surprise to casting? Because I genuinely don't believe she was cast in there as the racist in my heart of hearts. I actually believe she was put there as the exact opposite. I think she was cast to be America's sweetheart. So does this prove that even, when you have a genius like Robin Cass, even she can't predict what happens in the
Yeah, you know what?
house?
Here's the thing. I'm not throwing. At the end of the day, um, here's my take on why they're showing this. Now, here's my thing. They showed it one time last week. Okay, they put it out there. She's making these racist remarks. Now, to put it out there 2 episodes in a row, here's the thing. Like, aren't there other things going on in that house? That's my real question. Is this the only storyline? They can't do like a little McCray and Amanda. Maybe like I see that Howard and Candace are getting close. Like some other storyline in the house that they could focus on, and they're just keep going back to the racism issue. I think they're pushing it now a little too hard. At first, we didn't think they'd show it. Now they've shown it 2 in a row. I'm a little shocked that they're focusing on it this much. Did they not have anything better to talk about? Is really my question. Is there not a better storyline going on in the house? I mean, the MVP twist, but why don't they show more, game talk and other storylines or other funny things that might be happening in the house?
Oh. I can almost certainly answer that one for you, and that's because when they did show it for the first time 2 episodes ago, the show definitely got a ratings bump both in the U.S. and in Canada. And secondly, I agree with you. I don't think that the plan was to show this at all. I mean, all CBS did was release a statement, and Big Brother released a statement saying that they don't affiliate themselves with the comments of the house guests. And I genuinely believe that was the end of it. And I think that they succumbed to the pressure of the media because the media, the mainstream media, not just like reality websites, but the mainstream
Exactly.
media was talking about it so much that I felt like they had to.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just thinking, like I said, maybe they should even tease it out a little bit more and show, maybe not show it next week, maybe show down the road a little bit more if it continues. Just
Yeah.
to keep the burn going. Because
Well,
Aaron, well, I don't know what your thoughts are this week, but here's the deal: they may just need to get it out of the way now because Aaron could be in trouble this week as it is. Another one of your team members, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But
I think I've still got Jeremy. I think is still a
yeah, I
bigger
know.
target, and also this leads into a bigger question too that I was talking with Peter about the other day, where I said that you know is it and this sounds horrible to say, but I'm going to put it out there. Is it better for CBS for Erin to stay because she is getting them national headlines?
Good
Like
question.
do you cut this person that's making these racist remarks, or do you keep them on there just because everybody is tuning in to see what she's going to say
Okay,
next?
here's my take on this. Very simply, I think no, you need to get her out of the house. 2 reasons. One is because this kind of person cannot be promoted in any way by production. They can't be done like that. Okay, look. Sometimes maybe there are players that are a little preferred to stay in the house. They want other players to stay in the house. That's all I'm going to say. Maybe they do that. I don't think that's necessarily the case with Aaron. They can't get behind her. They cannot keep her there. So, in my opinion, she needs to go. And I think the other reason she needs to go is people really want to see Julie Chen interview this particular person because I've heard things like
And
Julie should not even interview her, just punch her in the face. I don't remember who tweeted that, but that was I literally I think I hope I retweeted that. Whoever tweeted that was beautiful. Julie, that was just I think I dropped my phone when I read that. It was great. Anyway, it's going to be really interesting. And like, she has to go. Like, also because she's on Team Murtz and not on Team AJ. And like,
Right.
notwithstanding, I'd like Jeremy to stay.
Well, I dodged a bullet with that last week, man. I got to tell you, I was almost down to two.
I know. And then, yeah, Alyssa. Now I think, you know what's great about well, Alyssa's going to be there for a while, and I think Helen's going to be there for a while. And I really like the way that they're playing, actually. And the fact that they're obviously early on targets and they're staying in the game. But Amanda has been my favorite. No questions asked. Amanda, I like the way she's doing it, getting it done. But
Yeah.
I worry about her because she might be going into that. I love her. You know I do. We both love her. Going into that Liza type game where if she's too friendly with too many people, it could bite her. So she's got to be careful. She's doing good.
I think she's getting drunk with power that she doesn't have.
And this is not only okay. So in jury, we used to rag Alec all the time, and he hated the comparison. But me and Topaz came up with it, and I think it's valid that Alec played a very similar game to Liza in terms of making friends with so many people, and then at some point we're all looking at each other and going, "We don't trust this guy." And I think that's what Amanda's got to be a little worried about. I think that's one thing. But if she sticks to McRae and shows the loyalty to McRae, that's good because McRae will take a bullet for her in a vote. That's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, he proved it, right? Because he basically dismantled the moving company for her.
Yeah, you got to do the math. One day, maybe we should sit down. You know how AJ likes to do some math. My mathness is very good. And maybe we should figure out the percentages of guys versus girls in showmances and who ultimately always loses. And let me tell you something. The stats always favor the women. In our season, the women, mind you, it's very interesting that the women lasted just as long as their guys, just a little bit longer. Like Liza, hours, and Tom. Same thing for Topaz and Alec because they both left on double evictions.
Yeah.
And then Emmett and Jillian too, just a matter of hours because Emmett went all the way to the end and got voted off, and then Jillian won.
I mean, you could even take it back to like Danielle Donato and Nick.
Yep. Oh my God! I mean, there's so many. Danielle, I can't think of any, and I don't know where you put like any of them. I know there was Drew and Diane, like that's season 4. That's a lot of years. That's like a decade ago in Big Brother history. It has not happened since. So any guys that go into the house and fall into a showmance, you're basically losing the game right then and there because you cannot win. Only one guy's been able to.
You know,
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like I told you this right when the cast came out. The very first thing I told you was this is going to be a season where the girls align. I just felt it. I felt like that's why Alyssa was put there. And as far as I'm concerned, this is going exactly the way that I thought it was going to. It's taken a longer road because certainly I felt like Aaron and Caitlin were going to be part of it, but the end result is still the same. You know, you're going to have basically, in my opinion, Alyssa, Helen, Amanda, Jessie. They're probably going to pull in Gina Marie because she has nowhere to go. And I think we're going to see all girls at the end. I really do.
I don't see that happening. I think one guy will get in there. And whoever, I know they're doing a good job right now. And Jeremy's not going to be there for long. I don't see it. But I think Howard and Spencer can stick around for a while and hopefully bring in others. And the ones that are on the low end of the girls' alliance. Because Helen and Alyssa are going to be on their own.
Gina.
Yeah. And I think Amanda and McRae are still around too, by the way. If Amanda and McRae link up with Howard and Spencer and start winning some comps, they'll start getting rid of some of the girls. So they're not done. It's still early, guys. This is week 3. We can't be, I mean, yeah, like we can make these predictions now, but it's still week 3, guys. And we don't even know who's going home this week. Obviously, it's still anybody's game.
We just got the update on the veto winner. Do you want to know who it is?
Yeah, I already know.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it yet. I just saw it now. So, well, sorry if you're watching the Murtz show. This is a spoiler. Forget spoiler free. This is spoiler encouraged. Okay, so you know what you're gonna get when you're over here. So yes, Caitlin has won the power of veto. Now earlier in the day, she was saying that if she won, she might not even use it because she wants to save Jeremy.
What? Oh, she's just gonna go home then. If she does that, she'll go home. If anyone did that, they'd go home for being that stupid. Not using the veto on yourself, you deserve to go home. I don't even want her on my team anymore. You want to trade me? She does that? Okay. Remember in the first week, everyone's like, Team AJ, your team is so solid. And then Alyssa, like, God love her. You know, I obviously love Rachel. gotten a chance to talk to her. She's a really cool person, Rachel Riley, and her sister, I'm sure, is just as awesome and great a girl. But
Yeah.
Alyssa just destroyed my entire team. I mean, putting up Nick, gone. And now everyone's turned on Caitlin and Jeremy, and Howard is the only one left. And now Alyssa's targeting Howard. She's destroying my team single-handedly. She's been weaponized. Yeah.
She has. She
She
has
should
been
go to the doctor and
weaponized.
say, "You better
Um,
weaponize." That's what that's what she should be saying on the show. You better weaponize.
oh my God.
Alyssa is
Easy,
on another
Ahmed
level.
Johnson.
Just destroying everyone. I love
Oh
this
my
MVP,
God.
but the MVP twist is ridiculous. Honestly, at the end of the day, with a returning house guest sister, I don't think this was the MVP season because now it's not going to switch every week until Alyssa's gone. So I don't think if they wanted some craziness, it should be changed week by week. You know?
I
mean,
totally
that
agree.
would make it
And I think a
cool.
lot of the people on the boards and stuff are saying that at least have the same person can win twice, which I think would make a
Or
big
yeah, oh
difference.
yeah, that's actually pretty good. Like HOH. So you can't
Yes.
you see now that's a much better added twist. Like just say, okay, if you win it one week, you can't win it the next week. That'll create ridiculous. Okay, listen, when you're in the house, one thing I'll tell all the people that have not played the game, Murtz, you probably heard this from a lot of people, I don't know. But one thing that happens a lot when you're in that, you randomly speculate like crazy. Like when we were in the house, we came up with so many ridiculous scenarios. A lot of them are perpetuated by people like Suzette and Gary. Like, for example, it's a twist. There is nobody here from Quebec and nobody speaks French. That's the twist. And like they'll come
Oh
up
my.
with some ridiculous scenarios of, wow, And the other twist is
That, that's the craziest thing
and
I've
then it was
ever
set.
heard.
I don't know
So what you
who
got?
was
Like
gonna
you
be
got a whole
left
bunch of
out.
like French people were gonna come. Oh my God,
Yeah.
AJ. It's like if these French people came in, wait for it. They would have tried to separate you. It's over.
Okay, wait a second. The other one was,
Over.
this is another classic. Okay, we are all somehow connected to each other on like Facebook or something. Like on Facebook. So somehow we're all friends of friends with each other. I'm like, but that would happen anyway in life. That's like one person, like say a person on Big Brother is gonna be friends with all of us. It's gonna happen by now anyway.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
totally.
that most ridiculous
Yeah,
thing.
because you're probably all like friends with the evil Dick or
Like
something. Yeah.
it's just out there anyway. Oh man, but that's the type. No,
Uh,
so my point of this joke is to actually make the point that people randomly speculate. So if there was a different MVP every week, people would go crazy trying to figure out who it is. Because in our house, for example, because Suzette somehow was more popular than AJ and was saved by Canada. Yeah, in Canada, I don't know why, but you made your choice. They saved Suzette. We all in the house thought Suzette was loved by Canada, and we're like, "What is?" And I actually listen. I love Suzette to death, and this is no disrespect to Suzette. I was like, "What?" I said it into the cameras a few times. So, what is wrong with our country? I mean, just because why would they vote Suzette over AJ? And it was just funny, but these twists get into people's heads, and then they start thinking, "Oh my God, this is what America is thinking," and it'll make them go even crazier because they're already speculating about, "Oh, is this going to be is this next challenge going to be an endurance challenge? Is this going to be a questions challenge?" And everyone does that all the time. So there's that random speculation. It's just going to go crazy in that house. It's crazy. If there was, and there already is, so it just adds to that.
if they had the MVP twist on the Canadian version, do you just feel like it would be the exact same Alyssa situation, except instead of Alyssa, it would be
Yeah. Gary
Gary?
would get it every week. Maybe Tala later on. I think she'd have a chance too. See, in our house, here's what's interesting. I think early on, Gary might not get it. They might give it to someone like Emmett. And then Gary would, because I feel like a lot of people say Gary grew on them more and more as the season goes on. Like Gary had his initial fans, and then Gary got a huge swell later on. And I think the same can be said for Tala. And then say, for example, Andrew's twin comes into the house, right? And then the next week he's MVP
Yep.
because he's getting a huge push. It's kind of like wrestling in that sense in terms of the popularity. Because keeping in mind that
Totally.
the editors of the show, what they put on the episodes, that's what's going to drive the MVP. Okay? So the fact that they're always mentioning Alyssa, of course, alleged beauty legend sister, she's automatically going to win MVP because of the Rachel Riley fans, the Brandon fans. There's just no way with her
I
in
mean,
terms of the MVP.
well, I got to tell you, I definitely thought that, I think you touched on something here, like watching the show from home, actually in some cases from your house, I always thought that the twist was going to be some kind of weird twin thing, you know? Like I definitely thought that like Andrew's twin, Tala's, you know, like I just thought that there was some kind of sibling thing that was going to happen.
Okay, I mean, they did. It just in terms of not the game, but in terms of bringing them in. And I
Yeah.
think, oh, maybe they discussed bringing Tanis in for Tala, but there was no way Tala would be able to hold the freeze. Definite fail. Definite fail.
I don't think Tala can hold a freeze in general.
Right.
Forget about when her sister's
Epic
there.
fail. In no way. Tanis would have made her like shake her and done it for her if otherwise. Those two. Anyway, a lot of fun girls. Those two are fun girls, but they wouldn't have been able to win that challenge.
Do you see any similarities between Tom and Jeremy?
No, not at all. I mean, honestly, no. I think the only similarity is that they're a little emotional and they're physical guys and they're kind of play with the heart on their sleeves. But to be honest with you, we're disrespecting my friend Tom here, to be honest with you, by even comparing him to Jeremy. Because I hang out with Tom and he's a good guy, and I don't know if I'd really hang out with Jeremy. We'll see. But you know what I mean?
Jeremy is something else. All right, let's see. Let's take some questions. The first one from Mark Hoffman. AJ, do you see a member of Big Brother Canada season 1 visiting the USA house like Dan did in your season?
I don't see that happening at all because none of the viewers in the US would know who the heck we are. So I do not see that happening. That is not going to happen. I'd say a funny story though, really quick, that I was missing online for a few minutes a few weeks ago, just before Big Brother US started, and one of my friends actually thought I was
Yep.
going into the US house because I didn't answer a BBM message. It wasn't you, Murtz. It was somebody else. It was one of my other friends. So she thought I was going into the US. So what's really cool about being on Big Brother now, if you ever want to like not talk to anyone for a while, say do it in like when the season's starting for Big Brother Canada. I can cut off from people, and if you cut off from people for like a week or so, everyone, all your friends will just assume you're going back into Big Brother. One year,
Yep.
Mertz, I'm gonna get you really bad. I'm telling you now, you're not even gonna see it coming. You'll think I'm an all-star, even if I'm not, because I'll one day I'll just cut off for you for 10 days.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait until like, as I was. Liza always asked me about this too, and she's like, you know, what do you think is gonna happen on Big Brother Canada season 2? And I'm like, well, they're probably gonna bring Jillian and Gary back to host a couple of challenges, but if they want to do an All Stars, it's got to at least be season 3 or 4 at
Yeah.
earliest.
You know what would be really interesting? Check this out. So instead of actually having an all-star season, say season 4, they just bring back all of season 1. I think it's one of the coolest ideas I've ever heard. Bring back an entire cast, all 15 of us, and we play again, the 15 of us. I don't know. That's how much I love this cast and how well I think they picked us. But again, I don't know who's going to be in season 2, 3, and so forth. But what do you think of that as a potential? Bring back an entire season.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, I can only think of like one sort of precedent for it, which was the Real World Vegas that had the original cast, and it's considered to be the best season of the Real
Yeah.
World ever. Had like Trishelle, Bryn, like Franks, you know, Stephen Hill, all these people that were like really big characters in the Real World franchise.
Yeah.
And in a reality first, 10 years later, they brought them back to Vegas and they lived in the same place, you know, and it was like absolutely surreal. You know, like the slutty girl, the first time she played, now had like 3 kids and stuff. So there is
Well, there's so
definitely
much to that. Let me
a
tell you the other part
precedent.
of that is, and you know this because you've seen all-star seasons of Survivor. Well, guess what? Obviously, this entire season, we all have now friendships with each other. So, like, alliances could really change. Friendships can develop differently. Like, obviously, now I'm going to get closer to, like, Topaz and Liza. Like, imagine Topaz and Liza playing together from the start. They become best friends because they live in Toronto now. You know, different alliances with Gary, and now they all working together. And like maybe, oh, by the way, Liza and Peter is a relationship, a new showmance. What if Emmett and Julian come back with kids? They're married with kids. Like, you know,
Yeah, they'd be like the Suzette.
yeah, I can maybe be married Tala's sister, Tanis, for example.
Oh my God.
Throwing it out there.
Yeah, just throw it in there, huh? Just throw it in
Pretty
there.
cute. Um,
Um, no, but I do see that, you know, being a great twist. I mean, you know, is it going to happen with Big Brother Canada season 1? I mean, certainly I think that anything is possible, but I think that like, and this is no disrespect to Big Brother Canada season 1, I think that it would have to be, you know, one of the most epic casts of all time, and the only one that I could even just think off the top of my head would probably be Big Brother 6, only because of the attention that Big Brother 6 got, you know?
6, no question. I don't even think there's another season I'd consider that for. I've had some other casts that I really like. I think the one that was one of the deeper ones was actually season 8. It's pretty deep. Is it a
Yep.
Dick, Danielle, Eric? A lot of good ones. A lot of Jen. Like a lot of memorable characters. And then the one with
I like 2 as well. I
two's
like
pretty good.
2.
Yeah, two's pretty good. Yeah, that's about the only other one. And then another one would be the one with the one with Jeff and Jordan. The first one with Jeff and Jordan because it had Jesse, the athletes. That one with 4 click.
Yeah, it had Russell, Lydia, Casey, Ronnie. Yeah, I could see a case for that. Shima. Oh my God, I'd love to see Shima
Like
back.
it had some memorable characters in that cast as well. A lot of good ones.
It's actually pretty pathetic that I could just name off like half the cast.
Natalie was in that one.
Natalie, yep. Let's see. All right, let's take some more questions. If you have any more questions for AJ, you can submit them via hitting the submit question button. In addition, don't forget to tweet. We've got the Murtz challenge coming up. It's a 2-part challenge for AJ that's coming up in about 5 minutes. And I also think that I know we haven't been able to get our schedules. You would think that like our schedules would be so in sync, considering like it takes me longer to get the remote to turn on my TV than it does to get to AJ's house. But I think hopefully we'll have a weekly Big Brother show here.
You definitely should.
Very very soon. Yeah, maybe starting like next week or something. All right, let's take some questions from Dean. How long do you think the MVP will last? Will it be gone before jury?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, do you think it'll last the whole season?
If it depends if Alyssa's still there.
Honestly, yeah. Watch the MVP, but Alyssa gets voted off, and the MVP's finished. Wow, really?
Totally.
That'd be like that.
That's what I think too, honestly.
I think it'll last for a while, actually. I think it'll last the whole season, maybe. Because this is an interesting question. Maybe they'll have 3 people in the final then. Does the MVP get to vote for the winner?
Yeah.
That'd be the best part. Just forget the whole jury.
Or the MVP automatically gets into the final 3.
No. The MVP, there's no jury this season, and the MVP just picks the winner. How about that? Ultimate power.
No, the MVP. No, the MVP wouldn't be on the jury. The MVP would be in the final 3.
And she picks herself. And she can pick herself. So that's it.
Man, oh man. You know what I am liking about this though is like I really appreciate the sort of subtle differences between Alyssa and Rachel's game. Like, yes, they might be sisters, but they definitely play differently.
They're playing differently, yes. Obviously, they're playing differently for the simple fact that Alyssa is a married woman and she's not going to get into a showmance. Doesn't have a guy who's also a target as her number 1. Now, she has Helen, and that's also another player that she's connected to now. But again, it's much different. It's not a showmance. It's a, I guess, bromance. Not a bromance, but a bromance. I don't know. I just came up with that. And whatever. 2 girls alliance. It doesn't last that long usually. It didn't last too long. I don't know. What are girls' alliances? I mean, this is a girls' alliance that can actually have some staying power just for the simple fact that there's 2 moms in it and they're not all single looking to hook up with guys. And if Jesse gets on board with them and Candace seems to be on board with them to some level already, then they can do some damage. Gina Marie already lost her guy. So if they just kind of take this like spinster type alliance, if you will, girls that don't have guys in the house, it could go far.
You're preaching to the choir, AJ, because I told you that on day 1 of this season. I said it from day 1. It's going to be a girls' season.
Even whatever alliances form in the house, if you're on the periphery of that, but you're not getting voted off, you can, as a player in that house, I always felt that you could always get yourself in between alliances. And that's how I wanted to play. Like, for example, in my season, I wasn't connected to Emmett and Jillian, but I was through Andrew. So I knew Emmett and Jillian were probably not going to put me up just to be loyal to Andrew, for example. And then on the other side, I was pretty good with obviously Topaz, Alec, and Peter. Even though Topaz messed up and sent me home, I wasn't her target, as everyone knows. So again, a good way to play that house, to stay in there long, is to sort of be in the middle. If you're not winning anything, you're not getting blood on your hands. I was never afraid, however, to win something. But I knew, and I also knew that, just back to my game for a second, is that I was in the situation where I needed to win pretty soon to get some power in that house. Because although I I don't feel that winning competitions is the be all and end all. Because we were playing with so many people that felt that way, I needed to win at some point. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Like, you kind of
No,
have to
totally,
play your
totally,
cast. And
totally
this is
makes sense.
important to these people. And oh, by the way, if these people leave, like Andrew, Jillian, and Emmett get to jury, I have to stand up in front of them, and I might need some of those competition wins to get their vote. So let's not forget that. Like, the thing that they left in the jury house was Peter, Alec, Topaz, and AJ, who didn't care that much about competition wins to vote, or our vote, sorry.
Who do you think got worser edit, Topaz or Aaron?
I see. Here's the thing. We talk about accurate. Okay. I think Topaz got it really good at it. First of all, I don't think but I don't think if she was on the show with me right now, and she can text in and she can verify this at any time, is that she didn't feel that she herself got an accurate edit. It didn't show her entire personality. That's all. I'll speak on her behalf because she would say that if she was sitting right here. But Aaron, I don't even think who knows if she's even getting maybe she's actually getting a good at it, and this is all they're showing. Because I've seen some live feeds.
Yeah.
Believe me, she's getting an accurate at it. That's for damn sure. And she's getting a fair one as far as I've seen. Because you know what? It's made front page news or whatever, news. Big Brother doesn't usually make news 16 seasons in, or 15 seasons in, sorry. And they just did because of this. So
What do you think the fallout is going to be for her when she leaves the
you know what?
house?
She'll actually bounce back and be. You know what? A lot of people are saying her life is over. She's never gonna. No, that's completely false. You know what? One of the things that you people on the outside who have not been in this process and part of the, if you will, Big Brother family, and it is actually a real thing. These casting agents are kind of people that cast us for the show. They're kind of like our mom and dad, and they are going to take care of us to some level. In some way, they're going to make Aaron's transition back into the world easier somehow. That's all I'm going to say. And people might not like to hear that, but that's how it's going to happen because they put her in this position as well to get exposed to her own thoughts. So, and they showed the footage as well on national television. So guess what? They exposed, because that's who she is, but at the same time, they are going to coddle her to some degree and help her understand why she's going to grow up from this. She's a child too. I mean, I can't remember how old she is, but she's quite young. She's 22-ish.
Oh
she's
yeah, yeah.
She's also
She's
a
definitely
child.
young. She's like
I
I think she's like 20 or
you
something.
got to remember, she's not from Toronto. She's from Texas. There's a different mentality maybe out there that I don't know about. Because actually, to be honest with you, I'm not even going to throw the Texas out there because I have friends in Texas, live in Houston, live in Austin. They are very, very metropolitan cities. In fact, a huge East Indian population lives in Houston. Austin has international students going to the University of Texas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been to Houston.
Don't
totally.
even throw the Texas out there and impugn a whole state because that's completely not there. This is Aaron and maybe her town in Texas or whatever. I don't know, but it's appalling to even have to talk about this because we should be talking about, hey, Aaron. Here's the thing. I hope I don't get too much backlash for this. Aaron's actually not a terrible player. She's actually trying to make moves in the game. She's actually, if we took the racism out of this, she's somewhat interesting to watch. She actually has some game. If you can take that racism,
I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing. I don't know if I'm going to subscribe to that. I mean, what's her game? She aligned with the young, good-looking people. That's not a real strategist to me.
She might. Here's the thing. If she can stay this week, maybe she'll. I don't know how. Do you think Helen's backdoor deal with Aaron has any validity? I know that you put her up on the block, obviously. So what do you think of that? Do you think Helen might keep her safe?
I don't think so. I actually think that's
the big thing to get another guy out like Jeremy.
Yeah.
Aaron.
I actually think that this is gonna burn Helen. I think that I see what she's doing in theory in the sense of having good things with everybody, so that if they win HOH, they're not gonna target her. But this is eerily reminiscent, and I see a lot of similarities between Helen and Danielle Reyes. I think this is gonna burn her in the jury in the sense that she's telling Aaron, hey, I'll take my side out for you. You take my side out for me. But I think if she gets to the end game, they're going to burn her like they did Dawn on The Last Survivor. They're going to say, this sweet mom was telling me she's with, this and this, and I trusted her. So I think she's going to have a hard time.
I don't think that'll happen, though. I don't think it'll go. If Aaron leaves now, this won't come back to haunt her in the jury because so much has to happen. People don't remember
Yeah,
the moves
yeah.
that were made in the first 3 weeks. To be honest with you, I mean, no disrespect to Nick, I thought he played pretty solid, and he's gone now. He was on my team, obviously in our pool, so obviously like Nick. But again, no disrespect, but people aren't going to really remember Nick when they're talking about the jury. So again, if Aaron leaves in the next couple of weeks, and they're non-factors at the end of the game. No one like Danielle. No disrespect, sorry, I know you're not watching, so hi Danielle. But like her getting evicted week 2 had no effect on Jillian's game. Like no one's saying, "Oh, you got Danielle out in week 2, Jillian. That's why I'm voting for you." No, okay. It's early
Yeah,
on, and
yeah.
those people are going to go anyway. That's how I feel. Like so, Nick, like he leaves, but it's not going to affect anyone's jury votes. Same thing if Aaron leaves in the next week or so. No one's going to care when it comes to jury. So much will
Totally,
happen after.
totally. Um, I want to. Okay, so before we get to the Murtz challenge, and I know we've only like sort of skimmed the surface with AJ, but I know AJ is going to be here a lot, so I know we have plenty of chances to like dissect this season. I just want your opening prediction for this first show that we've done. For at this point in the game, who do you think is going to win Big Brother 15? If you had to lay it on the line right
I
now.
think. Okay, so let me just say this. I'm putting my. I'm just gonna say I'm putting my heart and my pick. I'm gonna stick to Team AJ, and I'm just gonna go with Howard because I like the way he's playing. I like his ability to win challenges. I like his ability also to get into this girls' alliance or into this good person's alliance, whatever they're calling themselves. I heard some alliance you call them the Smurfs. I don't know where has that been said in the house. Okay, whatever.
I haven't
It's
heard
really
it.
weird. But anyway, whatever this new group of people to get out the, I would say the good folk against the say not so good folk, Jeremy, Caitlin, and Aaron. That's sort of where Howard's positioning himself, and I think he can stay there a long time. He's got Candace watching his back. I think he's got Spencer watching his back as well. I think he's going to have a good chance. So that's what my pick is, Howard. I'm going to stick to him.
I'm liking Judd right now a
Oh,
lot.
liking
I
him
think
to
that
win?
Ian Terry's opening pick. I like Judd is looking real strong to
Judd's
me
playing
right now.
AJ's game or Tala's game, and Jesse's starting to play a little bit of Tala's game now. Getting close to AJ is a smart move right now. Getting close to Judd for her is a smart move, I think. And
Yeah, I think that Judd Jesse thing I think is going to have a major role in
good
this
for them,
game
right?
down
Actually,
the line because I don't think that they're on
you
anybody's
know,
radar.
Jesse's actually. I liked Amanda right from the start too. I've said that many times. But Jesse and Judd have grown on me the most. I like Judd's personality right off the bat, but now I like how he's taking a stand to some level against some people. That's smart, and
Yep.
he's playing it really well. But he's not playing it. He's still coming across fairly non-threatening. So I don't know if he's going to be a threat now. I don't know how you feel again with spoiler talks. How did you feel about Spencer going up on the block? I thought that was way out of left field. Like Alyssa putting Spencer up, it feels like he was just a pawn, and the bigger idea was to get Jeremy out. But
Yeah, I don't think. I
or at
mean,
least you should have
I'm
another.
not going to get into all the live feed details. I think that like her smarter play would have been to put up Howard because Howard was the bad vote last week, and I think that like they were going to put a guy up just because they wanted to make sure that one of the guys, Howard or Spencer or maybe McCrae, would win the veto, to keep it out of Jeremy's hands. So like I just I think it's like irrelevant if I'm shooting
Yeah, well,
straight with
look,
you.
I just feel like Alyssa. The biggest problem with Alyssa's game is that she's getting all this blood on her hands, and this is what's just going to ultimately cost her in the game. She's not going to be able to win for the simple reason she's going to
Oh,
too
I don't
many
think she's
people
going to win
coming
either.
after her. She's doing the MVP every week, and now Spencer's going to be mad, and now if I think Howard's already smelling that. Okay, all the guys are leaving, all the moving company are moving out now, and you know everybody's going to keep putting her up. That's not on that side.
Well, dude, it's not just that. It's like, the first thing the jury's gonna say, similar to what they said, to
Yeah.
Gary, how they told Gary, "Oh, you were
I,
voted out, you shouldn't win." It's the same thing here in the sense that like they'll say to Alyssa, "Well, you had the MVP the
Yeah, but
whole time."
again, they're going to take it, and I don't think they'll look at it as Peter, Alec, and Topaz and I looked at it, and I don't think they are going to use it against her. I guarantee it, 100%. They're going to use not only the fact that she kept winning MVP, they're also going to use the fact that she's Rachel Riley's sister against her in the end too, potentially, and that sucks. Let me tell you right now,
Totally agree.
if I was in that house and Alyssa beat me and got to the end of the game, I would give her my vote over anyone. The fact that she had that big of a target on her back, the MVP is putting so
Totally.
much blood on her hands.
Totally.
I would look at it as I would give Alyssa my vote over anyone if I was playing in that game and being in that jury. and there'd be no forgery
I
necessary,
totally
there'd be
agree.
no discussion necessary, my vote would be for Alyssa if she was in the end. Because how can she get there? We're saying that in week 3. How the heck can she get there? So if she gets there, she definitely deserves to win. And there should be no, it should be 7-0, in my opinion. But that won't happen.
I totally agree. I totally agree. All right. All right. Let's get right to it. It's about that time for the Murtz
Okay.
challenge. AJ, you know, we have a tradition here on the Murtz show where we end every episode with the Murtz challenge. And for yours, I have a 2-part challenge. So the first part is I want to see if you can, you know, you're known for these like poems of yours. You know, I remember when we met Sonny and Shawn Michaels.
Right.
You said another one. One of the times you were like Pond. So how about right on the spot? The topic can be whatever
Okay.
you'd like. A poem right now on your
Okay.
feet.
So how about this? Erin doesn't like to play nice. She likes to make fun of people about rice. She won't get very far. Does she know how to play the guitar? I don't know.
Oh, weak last
So
line, but
she won't get very
we'll
far.
give you a
No,
C
how about this?
minus, okay? Because the
She won't
last
get
line
any.
killed
Okay,
it.
how about this? Hold on. She won't get very far.
Okay,
She's definitely not going to win a car. It's a little bit better. That's
that's
pretty
weak
weak.
too. So okay, C minus. Just you still passed. You still passed.
Cool.
Okay. Second part of the challenge is I want you to pretend that your webcam are Topaz and Tala making out and recreate the same face that you had, the famous AJ face that was like on friggin' freeze frame around the
Okay.
world.
The best thing to do
Okay,
is
are
to
you
actually
ready?
put up the clip. But let me see if I can
Okay.
find it. I have it bookmarked, of course.
Okay.
Hold on. Actually, I'm looking at a conversation right now. I
She has
swear
the
to God,
YouTube.
my YouTube's open right now, and Tala and Topaz are actually talking. I just saw this clip. Anyway, hold on.
Okay.
Gotta get authentic here, you know? Okay, forget it.
Okay, yeah,
I
no,
just close my
definitely.
eyes and think about it. How about that? All right.
Okay, you got it? Okay, okay. I think you had the mouth was
Yeah,
open a little
that
bit
was
more, I
good. You
feel
know
like.
what? Yeah, and there would be no better moment in the house for AJ. That was definitely, if you're gonna ever ask me that, just answer it for you. Best moment in the house. Easily. It wasn't close. It wasn't
Amazing.
close.
Amazing. Well, hang on, let's get this on here. 1 second. Put that on screen. All right, so that's going to wrap things up for AJ's first Murtz show. I know we're going to be back hopefully sometime later this week, maybe after the eviction or something. AJ, thanks a lot. This was your first time here. I'm sure it's going to be the first of many. You can follow AJ on Twitter at Burman AJ. It's in your window right now. Follow me at Murtz Jaffer. And we will be back soon.
Thanks, guys. Have fun. Have a good
All right.
Saturday. Later, buddy.
You guys too. Take it easy. Bye.